Have you ever wondered if history only tells us what was written but ignores what was hidden? Stories carved in the stone of time, mysteries that we still struggle to understand. When I say ancient Egypt, what is the first image pops into your head? It is a dusty golden mosque, it is a curse. Or are you wondering, did aliens actually build this? That is the problem. When we look back at Egypt, we are actually looking at two completely different worlds. It's like a split screen. On one side, you have fantasy, a world of magic, curses, and extramarital architects. On the other side, you have the reality. And the difference between them, it is massive. For centuries, we have treated their history like a spooky bedtime story. We projected our own fears onto them. We stopped seeing them as a people and started seeing them as a props in the history novel. But today we are going to fix that. We are going to use archaeological evidence, DNA analysis, stable isotopes data, and primary texts. Because those who write the history don't always write the truth. Sometimes the truth tellers are erased, but we are going to find them. Are you ready to leave the fantasy behind and meet the real ancient Egypt? Because trust me, the truth is a stranger and more beautiful than the fiction. Okay, let's address elephant in the room, or rather alien in the room. We have all just stood there, looking at the image of Great Pyramid, this absolute mountain of stone, and thought, how? And then a little voice says, maybe we forget the technology, maybe it was not us. This is what we call the argument from incredulity. Basically, it means I cannot understand how they did it, so it must be impossible. It actually built insulting is not it. We are basically saying our ancestors were too stupid to figure out the engineering. But we don't need aliens. We have smoking gun. First, let's kill the biggest lie, the slave army. You have seen the movies. Thousands of shirtless, starving slaves dragging stones with cruel masters' crack vibes. But archaeology tells us a different story. At a place called Heit el-Ghurab, excavation revealed not a prison camp, but a massive, state-run city. And here the best part, inside the pyramid, hidden deep in the revealing chambers where the public never goes. Workers write graffiti on the walls. They named their teams. One gang called themselves the Friends of Khufu. Another called themselves the Drunkards of Mankara. Does that sound like miserable slaves to you? The Drunkards of Mankara? No, that sounds like a saucer team. It implies camaraderie. It implies pride. They were building something for their god king, and they wanted everyone to know they were the ones who did it, and they were not starving. We analyzed over 175,000 animal bones found in the workers' city. These guys were eating prime beef, sheep, goat, and cattle driven all the way from the Nile Delta. They were eating better than the average villager. This was a unified national project fueled by the best food in the land. But the real mic drop movement fits perfectly with this thought. Something believed to be fictional was found written in an ancient manuscript. This is the Diary of Mirror. It was found recently at an ancient port on the Red Sea. It's basically an ancient Excel sheet. It details the delivery of limestone blocks from the quarry to the pyramid. It records the admin, the paperwork, the boring daily grind. Day 1, delivered 200 blocks, distributed rations. Aliens don't keep logbooks about limestone deliveries. The flocks humans do. But how do they move the stones? Magic? Anti-gravity? No, it's a high school physics. Wall paintings show workers pouring water on the sand in front of the slates. For years, we thought it was a religious ritual, like pouring water for the gods. But physicists tested it. Wetting the sand creates capability bridges between the grains. It's reduced friction by 50%. It is a simple hack, a daisy jugaad that makes a 2.5 ton block movable with half the manpower. It was not magic, it was mechanics. So they built the monuments with physics. But what about the people inside them? Popular cultures have convinced us that Egypt was a necropolis, a civilization obsessed with death. We imagine everyone walking around depressed, obsessed with own mortality, just waiting to be turned into a mummy.
What if I told you that was all wrong?
What if I told you they only prepared for the death because they were so madly, deeply in love with life? They wanted the party to continue forever.
Let's look at the mummy's curse.
1922, the whole world is watching. Howard Carter opens King Tut's tomb. Lord Caravan, the man who paid for the expedition, dies shortly after. The newspapers screamed curse. Even famous writers started speculating about evil spirits guarding the tomb. But Caravan did not die from the spell. He died because he nicked a mosquito bite while shaving and it got infected. In the days before antibodies that led to blood poisoning, it was a tragic human accident. And let's look at the data. Statistically, the people who entered the tomb lived just as long as the people who didn't.
The curse was fake news created to sell newspapers. But let's look at the actual bodies.
Not for magic, but for medicine. We found skeletons of workers with amputated limbs that had healed. We found fractures that were set with splints.
This is crucial.
If these people were disposable slaves, you would not perform complex surgery on them. You did replace them. The fact that they've received high-level medical care proves they were valuable assets. The state invested in their health.
And their mindset, it's pure YOLO. You only live once. When you think of Cleopatra, what do you see?
You probably think of a seductress, a beauty queen who ruined men, a woman who used to manipulate the Roman Empire.
That is a story written by her enemies.
The Romans needed to destroy her reputation, so they painted her as a witch. But look at the evidence, look at the coins minted during her region. She has strong hooked nose, a sharp chin. She was not trying to like a model, she was looking like a king. She was projecting authority.
The real Cleopatra was a genius.
She was a scholar in the library while others were partying. She was the only ruler of her dynasty to actually learn Egyptian. She was a CEO, a naval commander, and a master politician. She terrified Rome not because she was pretty, but because she was smart.
History is never written completely. Something is always hidden.
But today we found a little bit of it.
Thanks for watching.